Hey guys, it's Daniel again with Boss C 351's Productions. This particular video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to take this 2011 Ford F-150 King Ranch with a 3.5 Ecoboost, and we're going to be pulling the engine completely out of the truck. We're going to repair the turbos on the truck, and then we're going to reinstall the engine in the truck. Now there's a little backstory that is similar to most people's backstories with their vehicles with EcoBoost or the 5.43 valves. I want to give you a little hint of what this truck's been through, and it's going to probably sound pretty familiar. So the owner of the truck's driving the truck down the road, and the truck starts bucking, blowing smoke, and just all in all not running correctly. So what does he do? The next day he takes the truck to the Ford dealership that's local to him. The Ford dealership takes the truck, looks at it for about a week, charges him diagnostic time, comes back, calls him and says, hey, it's going to need a new engine. So the customer or the owner goes and picks the truck up. After getting a bill for $400 to $500 for diagnostic and for trying to figure out what's wrong with the truck, he also gets an estimate from anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 to replace the engine in the truck. If this sounds familiar to you and you would like to have your truck repaired, I'm in Northeast Texas, about 25 miles from Texarkana, just off of I-30. Now, I do repairs on 3.5 Ecoboost, and I also repair the 5.4 3-valve F-150 trucks. I specialize in these, and I have multiple trucks that I own that I've repaired. And as long as you use Ford parts, as long as you put them together correctly the first time, you follow the torque specifications, and you also follow a different maintenance schedule than what Ford gives you, these trucks will last. These trucks are good trucks no matter what anybody says. Just there are some inherent problems with some of the original parts that come on these trucks. So if you're interested in having your truck fixed, give me a shout out at bossc351@aol.com, or shoot me a comment down below at the bottom of this video, and I'll get back to you. And like I said, in this particular video, the first video of the series, we're going to be tearing down the truck to remove the engine. So let's get started. To begin, we're going to go ahead and take loose the battery, and we're going to pull the battery completely out. That way we can avoid shorting anything out while we're working on the truck. Now there's a hole down over here. Sometimes the battery corrosion gets to it, makes it a little difficult to get out. There's a hole down bolt. Can't really reach down in there and grab it, but just grab the battery. Pull it straight out. Here's the hold down wedge. Just take it and put it to the side. Now while you're tearing this down, I highly suggest that you set out a separate place where you can organize your parts as you take them off. Also, there is so many bolts, various lengths of bolts. Your best bet, if you're not familiar with these engines, is to go ahead and bag and tag in a Ziploc bag the bolts or the hardware as you take them off. If you don't know what something is, look it up on the internet. You can find what the name of the part is so you can tag it and where it goes. Also, if you need to, take pictures with your cell phone of how it's installed. That way you can assure yourself that you're putting it back in exactly how it comes out. There's no shame in it. Any mechanic that is worth his weight in gold we'll be looking at a TM or tech manual, getting the torque specifications from that manual, and also either making notes or taking pictures as he tears something down that he's never messed with before. That's just only smart. Next, we're going to start taking the air cleaner out and the air tubes, the turbo intake tubes. We need to get all this out and out of the way. Now, this is the mass air sensor. It's got a little clip on the bottom. Sometimes it's really hard to get undone. Other times it'll just pop right loose. That one doesn't want to pop loose. Try to take a little screwdriver and get down in here. Don't pull too hard, you'll break it. It's a red clip. There it goes. And once it's loose, you depress behind it, right here. See, that's the clip. Press right there, pull out, and it'll come right out for you. And let's take the air cleaner off. This one has been off in a while. Let's go ahead and take its tube loose all the way. There we go. Air cleaner, air filter. Try to keep your clamps with your tubes. There's another one down here. Of course, they put it in reverse, where it's going to be real hard to get to. Let's see. Watch my previous videos. I love to talk about the engineering. You're always fighting an engineer on this stuff. Break it loose. You've got these little turbine things inside. Don't lose it. This one's got a rubber hose to it. Wire tie. Go ahead and cut the wire tie off. I'm not sure if that came like that from the factory. I've not seen that before. Make sure we don't drop it down in the turbo tube. Okay, there's the wire tie. Okay, and there's one of your tubes. Now you have these air circulation tubes. Get you a little closer, maybe you can see. These have these little clips on them. What you have to do is, on the back side, you're going to have to push the tabs in so you can get it off. A lot of these tubes that are on these engines work the same way. Push these tabs in, and it will get it so far where it'll just pop out. So we're going to go ahead and take this loose. We may not be able to get it out. We'll go ahead and take it loose. Some of them easier than others. Just happens like that, mechanicking. There we go. Don't want to come out and just get under a little bit with a screwdriver. Then there's a giant one over here. Can't get you down in there to see it. But you see there's the other end of it right there. Same principle. Push the tabs together and push up. 9 times out of 10 will release. And we got that one. Pull it loose. This loose. This loose. And here is the assembly itself. Now, as I work, I'm going to try to point out things that are different between the 11 and 12 trucks and the 13, 14 later trucks. And this is one of them. This tube here is not on the 13. Apparently it's on the 11 and 12. So we're just going to take it loose and get it out of the way as well. Just clamps. Move the clamp back off of where it's securing it to the hose. That one doesn't want to cooperate too well. It's a double clamp. That's gonna be fun. There we go. There, hook from the vacuum pot on the brakes. You have to twist the hoses to get them break loose. Loose. Now just have to detach it from the bulkhead. Get you one of these little pry tools, you're going to need it, because these things are all over your Fords. Now that one may have broke. It's okay. I have ordered several of these off of Amazon. Remember, I put a link to Amazon where you can get these. They're pretty cheap. A lot of this stuff is brittle, so don't be surprised if you break it when you take it off. Now I've come to the point where I need to take the front wheels off. We're gonna go ahead and drain the coolant, but might as well, if you have a lift, this is gonna be a lot easier for you. If you don't have a lift, it's gonna take a little bit longer. Lift it's invaluable when you mechanic. And if you're mechanicing like I did before without it, you really know the value of a good lift and be able to get the vehicle up and off the ground, you know, raise it up and down as you work on one. Now we're going to take the inner wheel well out on both sides. You're not going to be able to get by without doing it. It's relatively easy, it just takes a little time. you've got of course, if yours has mud flaps, you got these little bolts here, but up here hidden kinda, you have some smaller bolts that you'll need to take out. There's one there. There's one here. You also have push pins in different areas here at the top. There's 2 of them. You also have your harness retainers pushing through. What you do, just take your, like the head of the screwdriver and push them back in where it loosens, it comes loose from the wheel well, and the harness will just hang there inside the engine compartment. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these loose. Like I say, some trucks may be a little different. This is the only truck that I have that have these little mud flaps. Like I said, you're gonna need these. You might as well go get you a good one. These little push pins, so you can get them out. Don't worry if you destroy them. Some of them are gonna break. It's just that's the nature of the beast. You can pick them up. I'll put a link on the video as well for these push pins. You can get assortments push pins off of Amazon and eBay. And that's instead of going to your local parts house and paying $6 and $7 for 4 of them, which is ridiculous. I just buy them in these little plastic boxes. There's all different kinds in it. Kind of look at it before you buy it. Make sure it's the type that's on your truck or on your vehicle you're repairing. Some of these, like I said, easier to get off than others. Loosens up. And just take like I said, screwdriver if you can. Just push these through. Or and then lower the truck back down and just pull them out. That one you can leave. This one you can leave. Let's see this one. That's a harness. The white ones, of course, are harnesses. So then you might be able to reach through and just pull them through. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Tool and that's right loose. No. Again, have to roll it, deform it, get it past these little standoffs where the screws go in, like that. Sometimes you can pull it out, pull it in and down. There's a harness that didn't come loose all the way. There it goes. There. coming out. And that's how you get the inner fender well out. Said, take your time. Look what we found here. That's interesting. All right, let's get the other side. That one. Push the end. Trying to get these harness connectors pushed back through the hole. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. So you fold it inward. We still have some harnesses on it, but make it a little loose. Pass this tab. One that wants to be a pain. Reach up in here. Get to this end. There we go. And I'll show you what I was disconnecting. See these here? They just put through, they have barbs that hold it in. And this was the big one in the harness, on the harness that was having some trouble getting out. So there's that, and these right here. Sorry if you couldn't see it just a second ago. But you got 3 of these here, and this one to knock back in, and 2 push pins to get out on the driver's side. Now that we have access, we're going to go ahead and drain the coolant out of the truck. So we're going to take a rubber hose. There's a little nipple here at the bottom of the radiator. Run it down into a bucket. Now you see this red drain. Sometimes you can turn it by hand, other times you can't, and guess what? You can't turn it this time by hand. So we're going to get us a little screwdriver and give us a little help. There we go. We don't know the status of the coolant of the truck, so we're going to go ahead and just discard it and go with a new fill once we get the engine back in. So you screw this out till it stops. Next, you're going to go up and you're going to loosen the cap up here on the overflow box. If I can get to it. The cap, take it completely off. That will remove the vacuum in the system and it will start draining. And here we go, it is draining. Now I do want to note that before I did anything on this truck, I put a pressure test on the cooling system to see if it holds pressure, and it does hold pressure. So if your cooling system holds pressure, there's not a hole in that block. There's just no way there can be, the way the 3.5 Ecoboost blocks are set up. For it to hold pressure, the block's just fine. So that's not the problem. The guy was wrong to begin with. So I'm gonna let this drain out, then we'll go to the next step. Next, we're going to start taking the turbo tubes loose. We're going to take them loose from the turbos, and we're going to take them loose from the intercooler. Now here on the intercooler, there's two tubes. One we can get to really easy right here. So I'm going to loosen that clamp off. The other one we'll have to get to at the bottom. Now you have your other main tube to the intercooler right here. There's a little trick to it. Now you want to get a little pick of some sort like this, and right here is the retainer. So what we're going to do, we need to pick that out. Sometimes it's in there frozen. Get up under it. Oops. There's an open spot in it. Once you find the open spot, it comes right out. See, here it is, the retainer. Right there. See, there's the open spot. Just get up under these edges, work around till you get it loose. Once you get it loose, just work it out. It comes right out of there. Now, once we get the turbo tubes loose, we'll raise up the vehicle and we'll take the main tubes loose from the intercooler. Go ahead and break them loose. Alright, this is the driver's side turbo tubes. Oh, excuse me, the passenger side turbo tubes. You can see there's a clamp for the bottom one here and a clamp for the top one here. Now here's the difference between the 11 and 12s and the 13 and up. This right here is not on the 13 and up trucks. This is an extra tube. So your turbos from your 13 and up trucks are not going to fit your 11 and 12s. 11 and 12s have their own separate turbo designs. So let's go ahead and loosen these off. Sometimes these are bare. Getting the socket on the thing to get it to loosen up. Channel locks. It's got one of those metal clamps on it, and it's pretty wide. Press the clamp, try to work that tube off with the clamp. Just turned on me. I'm going to turn that tube back. Let's get something over there. Long needle nose. And we need to press it if you can. Try to get that tube off of there. Sometimes it likes to turn, and when it turns, it puts you in a bind where you can't get in it anymore. Get to it a little easier. Let's see. See if our channel locks will work better now. There we go. Let's go to the other side. Now this is the driver's side. Now you remember what I was telling you at the first of the video? Do you see all that oil everywhere? The seals in that turbo are compromised. This was going to be a little bit more difficult. Thanks to the engineers, I put the clip right there behind parts of the turbo. So we can use our long needle nose to get it loose. This one kind of looks like one of the clips is broke. It sure does. It's going to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. Somebody's broken one of the ears off the clip. Man, it's on its way, but it's not off yet. I think that's it. No. Yeah, they sure did. It's gone. So there's nothing for one side of it to get on. So I can just leave all that oil. Wow. Well, so I can turn the hose. We get to it a little easier. There it goes. Come on, finally. Now, look at all that oil. Wow. All right. Let's get those. Should be able to just reach in and make sure they're loose. They're not going to come off there until you get up there and take the turbo tubes loose further up. Now we're going to take this dust cover loose from under the truck. This is normally what you take loose part of the way to change your oil. Twist knobs to come loose. Got 4 of them. The rest of them are going to be push pins. So we've got that loose. And somebody's already loosened up these. There's a couple here on this end. Some here. Front. Okay, and that's off. And that exposes the area where your turbo tubes are going to and coming from the intercooler. I'm going to stress one more time, get you one of these and get one that's crooked like this right here. If you get one that's straight, you've got no advantage, but with this type, you got a little bit of an advantage that you can pry with to get those push pins out. Now we're going to take the bottom clamp loose, bottom turbo tube. That way we can get it out of there. Just a standard hose clamp. Just reach up in here, pull it loose. Just like that. Now, the opposite side, that's your main one going into your intercooler. It may be a little bit more difficult. It may come right loose. Pin. Just grab hold of it and push and shove. It'll let it come loose or it won't. It's got a little O-ring in there that will also make it stick. There it goes. And it's loose. Now what we've done there is we've taken these loose so we can go up top and go ahead and unhook them there, and the turbo tubes will come right out. Now I've got the vehicle down, and what do you see? There's a reason why I pulled the front wheels off from the get-go, not only just to take the stuff loose from the inner wheel well, but I also put that truck down there almost on the ground. That way it's a lot easier to get to the stuff, that instead of trying to reach over the front. You know, short people have a little bit more difficulty doing it than the big people do, but it gives you a lot easier reach to what you're working on. So that's why I do it. I've done it on every truck I've done before, and it works out great. So here's a vacuum line here on this turbo tube. That one's pretty stuck. I'm going to take this line loose, get twisted a little, maybe it'll pop loose. Don't want to break off the nipple. But it's in there, buddy, it's in there. That's something smaller. Sometimes when you get these rubber hoses to turn, it breaks loose that attachment it's got, and it will come right on loose. Now this tube is on the bottom of the turbo, and it's got a little retainer here. Both of them actually do. They're stuck in retainers. Here's another line, same problem. The retainers are bolted to the actual block itself, just to keep them sturdy so they're not flopping around. She doesn't want to loosen up. There it goes. Get that one loose. Got it loose in the retainer. Twist it on out of there. Watch the harnesses. Now, this is the retainer I was telling you about. It's like a little nipple sticks up off of the turbo tube. It goes down into a rubber grommet. That's one of them. Go ahead and loosen out this main throttle body tube. Unhook this sensor. Tab at the back of it. Press it down, pull out. Move it out of the way. This is the main tube going down to the intercooler. See? Make sure that O-ring is in there. If there's anything wrong with that O-ring, you need to go ahead and try to find you a new one. Last I heard, Ford does not sell just the O-ring, but I think there's a Caterpillar O-ring that'll fit in there. Otherwise, you just have to replace the whole tube and put one of those aftermarket metal tubes on. That one out. There's the bottom one. This one's stuck down in. It's got a hose on it. Stuck down in there. This is the top tube. Just a little pulling. It comes loose too. Got a little puzzle here to get them to worm out. Of course, we still have the upper radiator hose in. We can go ahead and take it out. And just play it along as you go, pretty much is what mechanicing is. Press this clamp and move it. Got a clamp under the throttle body, same thing as these other ones. Press it, move it out off the nipple, which will loosen the hose. Now, I do want to forewarn you, no matter what, it's like in my previous video about doing coolant service on these trucks. If you go watch it, there's nothing you can do to get all the coolant out of these trucks. You can drain it, you can tilt the back of the truck up all the way, you can put pressure on the system, but you're not going to get all the coolant out. So, you know, just be prepared, because you're possibly going to make a big mess of your floor, regardless of what you do. See, this thing's still full of coolant. I'm going to go ahead and just dump it in the radiator before I pull the hose off. There's the upper radiator hose. Here's the turbo tube. There's the turbo tube. Now, get this line here out of our way. You can take it off either end. I prefer taking it off the bottle and just laying it up on the engine. So we're not going to take the engine completely apart. We're not going to take all the stuff off the engine unless it is necessary. Just lay it up here on the engine and pull the engine out with everything, you know, on it. Just the harnesses that are connected anything to the body we're going to take loose, but other than that, we're going to leave it just like this. Now you have your coolant bottle, hose here at the bottom. It's got a clip similar to the one to your let's see if I can get it on here. Similar to the intercooler. There we go. Do the same thing, get you a pick after it. Once you get it out, it will come loose. Just like that. Make sure you don't lose it. And same back out. That's what the clip looks like. Ooh. Like that right there. And just reach over, it's got an O-ring inside of it. Pull it loose. Tip to the wires, this has got an O-ring in it too. Now I have had to replace this O-ring before on my 13 because it began to leak. The O-rings themselves are not available from Ford. You have to buy the whole hose unit. Whole hose unit is not cheap. So I got some Harbor Freight O-rings, multi-sizes, and found one that was the same size as that and stuck it in. It worked great. Alright. See if I can leave you here where I'm getting these out. Now, the other turbo tube. You got a clamp here at the front of the engine. It's hard to see. Cooperate. Can't really see it for the tube itself. There's a clamp here. You can unclamp it, or you can just simply unbolt it if you can get to the bolt. It's 8mm. I normally unclamp it. Let's see, screwdriver. Just take a decent size flathead screwdriver, stick it in there, pry back. It's got teeth on it that run up on the clamp to clamp it down and releases those teeth. So, got it loose down at the bottom. Intercooler. Don't want to take a chance on breaking that clamp. Let's go ahead and take it out. Get it back out of the way. Lose our tool while we're at it. Long-winded bolt. Engineers. Here's the clamp. Goes there on the front of the engine. Goes to that turbo tube and holds it still. Turbo tube's loose here. This is the top one here in the back. So just pull, get it loose, worm it out. And here it is. There's the little standoff that holds it down. And look at that. Look at all that oil. That is terrible. Now for the bottom one. Pull it up. Comes out. Now let's see here. You get a little PCV hose here. Just push the little tab back. It comes right off. Same thing for the bottom one. Nothing weird. So take the tab, push it over, twist, pull off. That comes right out of there. Just out of the way again. And the turbo tube comes right out. A little bit of twisting. I want you to look at this. Look at that oil. See all that oil in there? What I'm going to do with these turbo tubes is I'm going to power wash the heck out of them. Hot soapy water. May let them sit in some hot soapy water overnight. Get all this stuff out. There's a turbo failure. That's a complete and utter turbo failure. Now next, we're going to take the whole front of the truck off. The lights, the radiator support, the radiator, AC condenser, the transmission cooler. We're even going to take the intercooler off because the intercooler is most likely full of oil. So I'm going to get started on that. Take out the 4 push pins that hold this on. It's just a cover. It's not in the best of shape. Push pins out. Just take a Phillips screwdriver. Sometimes these come out Phillips screwdriver. Sometimes you just have to pry them out and destroy them and replace them with some new ones. It's got a Phillips head. It's a plastic retainer. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. So just going to pull that out. That one here goes down. And this, by the way, not all the trucks have this. I know the FX4 does, FX2. You know, your basic trucks don't have this here on it. It's just a air dam to help guide air into the radiator. Just gotta be careful not to break anything, get these push pins out. There's one. Definitely don't want to break anything. Push pin. If you find you can't get it out, cut the push pin, replace it. It's cheaper than replacing this whole bracket system that's on the front of this truck. One side. This is tore. Normally this is what they look like. They're tore up. Well, I replaced mine on my FX4. Didn't do any good. Within a year, it was already running again. There's a retainer down here. There's actually two. One of them is missing. And two push pins up here. So one up here, one down low. And we broke the bracket anyway, despite what I said. Of course, all of this stuff is, the more brittle it's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and cut that one off. Another one, so if I get it out without breaking it. Nope. Go ahead and cut it off. And then there's the air down for this side. And the rest of it's pretty simple stuff. You take the horn off. Just watch where everything attaches. Your harnesses, where they're routed. Comes off, I just put the screw back in it. We're going to take this whole assembly off anyway. Good latch. Put the screws back in it. Or you can bag them, tag them if you want, it's up to you. Whatever. However you feel best doing it. Retainer here. Be careful with that. And there's a retainer attached to wiring harness for this cable. Be careful with it, it'll break it. Goes down here at the bottom, clip up, and there it is. So what I'm going to do to get this out of my way, press that in, pull the cable up, around, release it. Retainer. And this goes in there. You're not going to be able to get this out, but you can unhook the wire. Same thing, just push that in, pull the wire around, release it, the wire's loose. Take some small needle nose, usually works. Got a clip here, got to press both the little barbs. Get it pressed. You can pull it right out. There's your cable, loose. It's that simple. Put these two barbs, push them together. Just like that. Start wiggling your cable out. So that's just going to get out of our way for now. We're going to move it out of the way even more in just a minute. Take your latch and release loose. Take it completely. One bolt. There's your hood latch assembly. If yours is broke, now's a good time to replace it. Now, we'll take the headlights out. Through there. There at the top. You got one here in the middle. Like that. Same thing on the other side. One in the middle. Two at the top. Now. Take your headlight, gently pull out. You have to rock it a little bit. All it has is little tabs that stick in the retainer over here in the fender. Pull it out. Gently, carefully, unhook the harnesses. I say gently. He's already broke that one off. That's nice. That one. That one doesn't come loose. Let's see. Push. Another tab. Try a little needle nose. Gently push the tab in. See if you get released. You may have to push in and out on the connector. Go. All three loose. Headlights disconnected. Take your headlight. Put it to the side. We're going to do the same thing for this headlight. Let's see if I can get you a better close up over here. Grab hold of the headlight, gently pull. It should come out of the fender. Goes. What's holding it? These little retainers here go in the fender. That's what's making it hard to get out. Next, we unhook the harnesses. There, here. Like that. The driver's headlight is out. Now we're going to start unplugging the miscellaneous plug-ins, hoses, different things on the front of the radiator support. We're going to start right here. Get this to detach. That one's loose. Pry loose the retainer. And just tuck that in there. And we're going to get this lower transmission cooler line. Press that clamp, pull it back. And just pull the hose loose if you can get it loose. Sometimes it's tight. After a while it just attaches itself to whatever it's plugged into. You gotta work it loose. There we go, so now it's free. You have to work it off. And there's gonna be some transmission fluid in here, so if you lose a little bit, don't worry about it. Just make sure you fill it back up when you put everything back together. Like put a little cap or something in there to keep the dirt and crud out while we're working on it. We're going to move over here this side, passenger side, and do a lot of the same thing. Here's another one, another little sensor. Retainer. Just tuck that in there, out of the way. Same thing, another retainer. Retainer here. Be careful with this one. There's a little sensor up in here. We're just going to take the sensor completely loose. Pry it loose from the support. And take that whole harness, push it through to the other side, out of the way. Next, we got the other hose that goes to the transmission cooler. Work it loose. Push down, twist back and forth, see if we can get it off. This is probably a prime time to go ahead and replace the transmission lines while you had the engine out of the truck. These have been known to blow out while driving down the road, and that is not good because you will lose your transmission. It will empty out the entire transmission, and once it stops, it's too late. Man, that's a burger, isn't it? Doesn't want to come off there. There it goes. So we're losing some fluid there. There's not a whole lot. It's some, but it's not a whole lot. Okay, next, I'm going to move over to the AC lines. Now, this system has already been bled down, but if yours hasn't been bled down, you're going to have to bleed it down, get it evacuated before you start work. Take it loose. Layer in it. Same thing for the bottom. To get a short socket on that one. Top one's a 14, bottom one's a 13. Keep up with these, this bolt and this nut. If you lose them, we're going to be hunting for new ones. So just pull the lines loose. These. When it's time to go back, you just replace the O-ring and this metal gasket that's on it. It's pretty simple. There's the metal gasket. One's big, one's a little bit different size. But you can get an assortment of these at your local parts house. It usually comes with several O-rings, several of these here. That's them. Next, we're going to go up here up top, and we have 4 10mm bolts. We're going to have to take those. Harness is a little bit in the way. Last couple of threads. There's one. Two. Number 3. And there's 4. And there's that mounts this to the radiator support, so we're just going to move it back out of the way. We're going to find where the retainers are and disconnect them. There's one here. There's another here. Roll it back slowly, and you'll start seeing where these retainers are. There's another one right here. Another one here. Let's see. And another one. Get this one in the center. Let me get most of the tape. There's more down here. The harness that goes to the electric fans. You get 2. Looks like 2 more. Especially when it's a clipper of some sort. You have to disconnect from the fan shroud. We got one more down here on the main harness that's attached to the radiator. And that's going to be a booger to get to as well. Almost there. And there we go. Now, under all this wiring down here by the fans is the fan harness connectors. They are not the easiest to get loose either. They're like pry tabs on them. There's one. And there's that. The next item we're going to disconnect is going to be the lower radiator hose right here. It also has a retainer clip similar to the other ones. We just fish it out just like the other ones. We can grab hold of it with our hand. Yep. And here it is. There's the retainer clip. You just have to swivel it off the radiator. Because a lot of times it is stuck on there. That O-ring sticks pretty good. It does its job. And there it is, it's disconnected. Now we're going to unbolt the radiator support from the truck. So we've got two 10mm right here. There's another one over here. The rest are going to be 13mm. So we'll start up here. Now I've raised the truck up, and what we're going to do now is we're going to take out the intercooler. So you've got a bolt here, and you've got a bolt here that holds this carrier in. But you take it out, this whole intercooler is going to try to come out with it. You're going to be careful. Some of the intercoolers are heavier than the others. So just be careful when you start letting it down. It also would help if you had a second hand with this part and the next part coming up. Take the air down out of this one to get it to drop down. So, just a couple of small bolts. Air down. Probably all I'm going to need to do to get it out. And there's the intercooler. Look off in the intercooler and see if there's any oil in it. Yes, there is. And one last thing you need to take loose is this overflow coolant line. Take it loose off the assembly. Like that. Just move it out of the way. Now I'm going to attempt to get the radiator support assembly out by myself. Normally it takes two people because you have to not only pull it out, but you have to roll it forward to get it off these tabs down here that it's hooked to on each side. So with one person, it's not real easy to do. Two people, one can hold it while you get the tabs loose. It's also hard to roll it with one person holding it. It's also when you'll find out if you have anything else that you forgot to disconnect. One tab. You just gotta reach in here and find it and depress it. And it'll slide right off. Of course, it's easier said than done. And there's the other one. Just roll it forward. Loose, and be careful. Don't break the AC lines. And here is the complete radiator support assembly out of the truck. Now you can obviously see why I do it this way. You have ample room to gain entry to anything here at the front of the engine. We're going to take this out. We're going to take the battery box out to gain even more room to get this engine out of here. Now we're going to move over to the battery box so we can get it out and out of the way. So again, take your pry tool, pry loose the retainer for the wiring harnesses in two places. Make sure it's all detached. Now we're going to take the battery box out. We got 3 bolts. Battery box along with the windshield wiper, motor, and bottle attached. So we'll get it, come on up out of here. Oh, got another one attached. Another harness attached. Didn't see it. There's one back here on the back side. Attach it. Now, disconnect the line from the bottle. There's one here that was hidden. It is the washer bottle harness. So plug it. Well, this one looks like it might be broke. There we go. And then unplug the hose from the motor. Here's the whole unit coming off. Now let's move over here to the air box. And overflow bottle. like we've got 13mm here. Strip of the box. So we got another one hidden back here. Hard to get to, so we're going to take that off. Hood sensor. Drop it down here out of the way. We'll put the nut back on there so we don't lose it. I'm gonna have to get a short 13mm. Come right out of there. See if we can pull it right out. It sits down in the grommet. Alright, there is the air box and your overflow tank. Now, let's focus over here and back on the engine. Move you back a little bit. Now, we got all these harnesses and everything. What I like to do is just lay them down. As low down as you can get them. Always get let's undo the pressure sensor for the AC. Undo this harness here. And undo this one. Just move this stuff out of your way and down so you'll have plenty of room to get this engine out. And get you a better view of which harnesses I disconnected. There's several here, there's even one here. Just press down the tabs and pull apart. Some of them pull apart, some of them you got to fight. Here's another one, going down to the turbocharger. Let's see. Where's the tab? There it is. Got a red lock on it. Of course, it doesn't want to come loose. Put a little pressure on it to get it to come loose. It's basic flathead. Up under the tab. Hopefully not apply too much pressure. There it goes. It pop and press, and then you come loose. There's a vacuum line going to the vacuum pot. So get loose. Here's your main harnesses going to your ECM. Press the tab down, pull back on the gray lever. So bring the other side. Go back on the gray lever, disconnect. The next things we're going to have to get loose are the two heater core hoses up here. These are the more difficult things to get loose. I'm going to try to show you how to easily get them out. You press the tabs on both sides, push in on the connector and pull out. Do that on both of them. Push in, pull out. Yep, that didn't come out. There it goes. Now both your heater hoses connections are disconnected. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this AC line loose. Goes to the compressor. Pull it loose, put the nut back on there so you don't lose it. Now, we have all this stuff disconnected. This harness goes to the engine, so we're going to zip tie it up there here in a little bit to keep it up there. Two things you're going to have to also disconnect. Get over here to this side, we can get to it pretty easy. I'll zoom in. Your O2 sensors. This is the easier one to get out. This is the cover for your high pressure pump. I'm going to lose it. Now your connector's right there in the back. So I can step up in here and get to it. This is for your O2 sensor down here. Get it disconnect without too much trouble. Probably not. It's got one of those red keepers. There it goes. Then we got to pull it off this retainer. I'm going to be able to get back there with the tool, so I'm going to have to pull on it myself. Get it out of there. There's one O2 sensor. Let's see. The other one's back in the very back. It's hard to get to. We're probably going to have to lift the vehicle to get to it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Your other O2 sensor is in a little different place than I remember on mine. It's right back here. So we're going to reach up in there and we're going to try to disconnect it like we did the last one. Hopefully it goes as well. It also has one of those red keepers. So here we go. We got that loose. And under the truck we have various items we're going to take loose and take out just to make our job easier. So I'm just going to start taking stuff out. As you're watching, I'm sure some of you have noticed this is a two-wheel drive truck. Two-wheel drive truck, doing anything on the truck engine-wise is a lot easier to deal with than the four-wheel drive trucks are. Two-wheel drive truck, I can reach right up in here and get to the engine mount. I can reach right up there and get to pretty much anything I need to get to on both sides. Four-wheel drive truck, that's a different story. Covered in grease and oil, my goodness. Thing we're going to work on, let's go ahead and get the starter loose and out. Might have to go ahead and drop this sway bar down to get it out of the way. Oh, we're gonna have to do that anyway. Let's go ahead and try to get the starter out first. Tightening up the transmission line. Just take it loose, hold on to that. One bolt. And notice there's a ground under this bolt head. And I have to remember to put that ground back on. The other bolt for the starter's loose. So there's just not a whole lot of room up in there. They don't give you much at all. Let's see here. This harness retainer loose off the engine. It's just a push pin as well. Started falling down a little bit. What to do is maneuver the starter. We can not only come out, but we can also wires off the back of it. There's a cover that goes on the starter, don't lose that. Let's try this one. That off. Alright, there's one. Hold on to that nut. Okay. And another there so it don't fall. Disconnect that wire. Let's put a washer on it too. There's your starter. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and take the exhaust Y pipe out. Normally you don't have to take it out, but I'm going to have to take this one out because the guy cut it with the sawzall. I've got to weld up the pipe and also flush out the oil. So right up here is another O2 sensor I've got to disconnect. Push the button, it comes out. And I've got another one right up here at the top of the transmission. Way up here. You're probably not going to be able to see it. Get it out of its clamp, disconnect it. There we go. I've got all four of the O2 sensors disconnected now. So I'm going to go back here to the rear connection of the Y pipe. turn around. And up here, we got to take the two nuts off the flange on the passenger side. See what size these are. 15. Try the small impact first. One nut. Two. We're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Take that one off. This last one's always a booger because the firewall is in the way. So we got a wobble extension. Gives me just a little bit of leeway. Just let that nut fall out. Alright, we got everything loose. Now for the next step. Now I have the transmission supported with this stand. We're going to take the transmission cross member completely out so we can get the exhaust out. Short version. So let's do it the old-fashioned way. Like it's triggered up. Fight the whole way. this bolt out. This one out. This one's back out. I can't drop this crossmember down easy. That's right there. 10mm up here, one up here. Two heat shields that got two 10mm bolts in them. You gotta have that. Down and out of the way. Instead of trying to slide this exhaust pipe out of this mount, I'm just going to take the mount out. That way we just slide it off and then the exhaust should come right down. Three 15mm bolts. You don't want to do is come down and pop us in the head, it will fall straight to the ground and bust everything. Let's see what's happening. It's about ready to fall through. I'm going to hold it up, take this mount down. Hold on. Support. Ease it to the ground. And our Y pipe's out. Now I swung the cross member back up. I just put a bolt. Make sure each side's got a bolt in it. And knock this off the Y pipe, the mount for exhaust and transmission. Knocked it off and put it back on here to support our transmission. I'm just going to put 2 bolts in it for now. And zip them back up. We're going to end up taking it off again. Now, put it back on there. I'm going to take the weight off the transmission jack. And now it's resting back on the crossing. Like I said, you don't have to do this on yours, but I'm having to do it on mine for the simple fact, like I told you at the beginning of the video, this backwoods engineering crap cut through the front and the back of that catalytic converter. And then somebody replaced this one and halfway welded it, so it's leaking too. And that's the reason why I'm taking this Y pipe out. Normally, all you're going to have to do is just disconnect from the turbos, disconnect the Y pipe, and that's all you got to do. All in all, this is just it's eventually going to make it easier to get the engine out. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and put the nuts back on here, because when we take the engine out, we're going to have something supporting the front of the transmission. keep it from falling. That back in, then we're done with it. Now let the truck down just a little bit, and now we're at the front and bottom of the engine. There's a transmission line retainer here we're going to have to take loose. Do this from way back here. It's a bit of a tight fit. This harness slides right off here. Got a weird like tab here. You just pull out and down and it disconnects right here. And then I'm going to bring the truck back up. This is the one I was telling you about earlier that's really difficult to get loose. It's right here. Move the camera back. Right here. Now if it's four-wheel drive, forget it. You can't get it out. I had to take the cooler off. You know, all kinds of stuff just to get in here to get to this thing. What it is, it's kind of like I don't know, a bulb, and it's got multiple teeth on each side of it. But the only way to get it off is to press all those teeth at one time, you know. Good luck with that. There's about, half inch or less room right there to get in there to it. I'm depressing two of them right now, and it's still not coming out. But I had to take all this stuff off on mine, you know, with the engine up in the air, just to get this harness retainer loose. Kind of think this is a little bit dumb, but hey, like I said, you're having to fight the engineers on a whole bunch of this stuff. So that's just the name of the game. And I understand why some people just take it and just break it off, say the heck with it. Now try not to do that. Press several of them and just wiggle it out, but it doesn't seem to be working. Oh, there it goes. There it is. You see, two retainers. I guess it was just that hard to get out. Now we're going to bring the truck down and we have to take the alternator loose. That's up next. Gently use the channel locks and press the tab to get this connector off. There we go. Here's the tab right here on this side. Right there. It's just a little difficult to press in. Pull this cap loose. It's your power wire coming off the top of there. Pull the wire up, and your harness is loose all the way around. Disconnect. Push it down away from the engine, make sure it doesn't get caught. One of the last things we're going to have to do to get this engine disconnected from everything else, this is your high pressure fuel pump. So, get this loose, disconnect the lines. That's already been pulled loose. Press in and push down, and it should pop out. Let's see. Yep, there it is. So the retainer's up here, and then you just pull the line off. So the same. Get up here again, a little bit more grip. Just get this almost all the way out. I think this clip may be broken. I'm having so much trouble blocking this from coming loose. There it is. Just a little bit of fuel pressure left in it. And that line's loose. And here is turn vacuum for line here goes through back to the fuel tank. Canister blue is the purge valve. Little hint, get in your truck after filling it full of gas, and it cranks up, stumbles big time when it cranks up. When you first fill it up with gas, there's your problem right here. Not cooperating either. L-rings are probably sticky. Yep. Alright, both of these lines loose. And one of the last things we're going to have to do while we're under the truck before we go to the top and finish off is we're going to have to disconnect these harnesses, this harness under here. We're going to have to disconnect it from all the points, and we're going to have to route the harness back to the top of the engine. Reason being is Ford, in its infinite wisdom, they decided to make one complete harness instead of putting a connector in between the front and rear. Where you can disconnect one harness from the other. So when you pull the engine harness, you also have to disconnect everything from the transmission. So we got one standoff. That one was zip tied. Somebody's already broke it loose before. Here's another standoff with a connector on it. Now this harness goes up and over the transmission. Comes out to the other side. So let's move you over a little bit and see what's going on over here. Oop, got up against the exhaust. So we've got right here, we have the bulkhead connector plug. You take the bulkhead connector plug, it's got a little tab standoff, and you rotate it counterclockwise. Rotate it counterclockwise, the harness comes out of the transmission. So here at the top, we have another retainer. This is going to be another one, the pane of the rear end retainers. Let's see if I can press both tabs and get it to go up here. There we go. Drop it down. Let's go over the transmission and come back to that over here. I'm going to show you. This is the harness that goes in the transmission, goes in the bulkhead. Like I said, rotate it counterclockwise. See, there's a little tab, and it just comes right out. You don't have to pull, yank, or anything. Now, if you see transmission fluid around this, it means your bulkhead connector has gone bad in the transmission. Now, I have a repair video on YouTube on how to fix that. And this is the little 2-tab retainer that I had to depress both sides. We've got another one up here, even harder to get to. Right at the top of the transmission. Once again, fighting engine air. And this one's doing, it sits right against the case. It's almost impossible to press both of them at the same time. Let's see if I get a little screwdriver. With an itty bitty screwdriver and try to get it in there and press the other side with my finger. And hopefully it'll come out. Yes, it did. Alright. Got that one out. And this harness goes in back here all the way up to the back top of the engine. So we've got this disconnected. Dirt on this. We'll get that out of the way. So what we do is when we get to the top, just gently, slowly, pull this harness up the top of the engine and let it rest on the engine. Now this is the end of the disassembly process. We've got everything disconnected that we need to disconnect. Yes, the engine is still bolted to the engine mounts, and it's still bolted to the transmission. The torque converter is still bolted to the flex plate. That's going to be the removal video that's going to come up next. Now, like I said, this is a long-winded process. There's other versions on YouTube on how other people like to do it. Take the cab off. I'll never do that. You still have inherent problems. People try to take the turbos off from the inner fender well. I'll never do that. There's also some major problems that you realize after you get the turbos back in and you run it down the road for a little while. Pulling the engine is your best bet to one, get the turbos off easily. Take a look at and diagnose any other problems you may see with the turbos, the lines. You may need to replace the lines on both sides because they're corroded. And you're not going to be able to do that because with the engine in there, because the coolant lines go to the back of the heads and they are almost impossible to get loose. So once we get the engine out and I start disassembling it, you'll start seeing what I'm talking about. Also with the engine out, we can replace the stretch belt on the AC compressor. We can also pull the valve covers off, which we're probably going to do anyway, to check the VVT solenoids to make sure they're not slap full of metal. Another good reason why you want to pull this engine out is you do want to go ahead and take the oiling tubes that go to the turbos. You're going to have to take those off because at the end of those tubes in the block are some filters. And you're going to pull those filters out and you're going to check them for metal and then you're going to replace them. If you don't do that, you're pretty much going to waste your time changing these turbos because they're fixing to go again. They're going to go because all the metal from the previous turbos are going to accumulate in those little filters and keep oil from flowing. So like I said, if you'll follow the videos as I show them to you, it may take you a little while and that's okay, but you're going to be able to get your engine out, repair your engine correctly, get it back in correctly, crank it up and drive it. Once again, I appreciate you watching my video. Please click like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out greatly when you do that. Please take down in the video comment section and go ahead and let me know what you like or didn't like about the video. And if you think I missed something, let me know about it. Also, check the links I have in the video description. I'll have some of these parts that you're going to need in that section. And sometimes I get them a lot cheaper than you're going to be able to get at the local parts house or even at your local Ford house. Once again, thank you for watching my videos.